Ladies and gentlemen, let's start with a fundamental truth. Words reveal intent, but they also conceal it. Language is not just a tool of expression. It's a battlefield of meaning, a reflection of the psyche, and, in the realm of attraction, a window into desire. Now, in this chaotic dance between men and women, where social norms clash with biological imperatives, men often struggle to articulate their emotions directly. They are conditioned by culture, by history, by their own evolutionary programming to be restrained, indirect, cautious, and so they speak in codes. But if you learn to decode those messages, you will see with absolute clarity when a man truly wants you. Men's communication of desire is often indirect, shaped by deep-rooted psychological, social, and evolutionary factors. Men's features must change, but their modes of communication remain exact. Unlike the straightforward expressions of interest seen in some cultures or idealized in media, real-life male attraction tends to be nuanced, coded, and sometimes even ambiguous. This indirectness is not accidental. It is a product of both nature and nurture, a delicate balance between the primal instincts of attraction and the learned behaviors of restraint and caution. To understand why men struggle to articulate their emotions directly, one must first consider the evolutionary framework that governs human behavior. Throughout history, men have been conditioned to demonstrate strength, control, and resilience. Emotional vulnerability, particularly in the realm of romantic interest, was often seen as a liability rather than an asset. A man who openly expressed his desires without caution risked rejection, humiliation, or social alienation. As a result, indirect communication became a survival mechanism, an adaptive strategy to gauge interest without exposing oneself to unnecessary emotional harm. This evolutionary tendency is further reinforced by societal expectations. From a young age, boys are often taught, either explicitly or implicitly, that overt expressions of emotion, particularly those related to love and affection, can be perceived as weakness. Phrases like "man up" or "don't be too soft" condition men to suppress their feelings, leading to a communication style that relies on implication rather than direct admission. This is especially true when it comes to attraction, where fear of rejection plays a significant role in shaping the way men express themselves. Instead of directly stating, "I like you," or "I want to be with you," a man might drop subtle hints, test the waters, and observe how a woman responds before making his intentions clear. The indirect nature of male communication is also a reflection of a deeper psychological reality. Men, in general, are more action-oriented than verbally expressive. Their emotions are often channeled through behavior rather than words. This is why a man's actions can sometimes be more telling than his spoken language. When a man consistently makes time for someone, when he subtly prioritizes her in his schedule, or when he finds small ways to make her life easier, he is communicating his interest without necessarily verbalizing it. The challenge, however, is that many women expect words of affirmation, and when they do not hear them, they assume that the interest is not there. This disconnect between male and female communication styles can lead to misunderstandings. Women, generally more accustomed to emotional expression and verbal articulation, may find it frustrating when a man does not explicitly state his feelings. They may wonder why he hesitates, why he beats around the bush, or why he does not simply say what he means. However, recognizing that male attraction often comes through indirect cues rather than direct statements can help bridge this gap. By paying attention to patterns in behavior, tone of voice, and recurring phrases, a woman can decode the underlying message that a man is attempting to convey. But one of the most common ways men express interest indirectly is through teasing and humor. This serves as a protective mechanism. If the humor is well received, it allows the man to continue building rapport without exposing too much vulnerability. So if it is rejected, he can always play it off as a joke, minimizing the sting of rejection. Similarly, men will often introduce small, seemingly casual compliments that hint at deeper admiration. Instead of saying, "I think you're incredible," a man might say, "You have a really unique way of looking at things." The difference is subtle, but the intent is the same. The indirect approach allows for plausible deniability, reducing the perceived risk of rejection. Another common phrase that signals interest in an understated way is, "Let me know when you get home safely." While this might seem like a simple act of concern, it carries a deeper meaning. It is an indicator of protectiveness, a subconscious way of saying, "Your well-being matters to me." Such statements often reveal more about a man's feelings than grand romantic gestures, as they are rooted in a sense of responsibility and care. The key takeaway is that while men may not always verbalize their desires in a direct, unfiltered manner, they are still expressing them in ways that can be understood by those who pay close attention. Their words, though sometimes cryptic, are embedded with meaning. Recognizing the ways men communicate indirectly not only helps in understanding their intentions, but also fosters deeper, more meaningful connections. Rather than expecting blunt declarations of love, one must learn to interpret the subtle signals, because within them lies the truth of male attraction. When a man tells a woman, "You're different from other women," he is doing more than just offering a compliment. He is signaling something fundamental about his attraction, his emotional investment, and his perception of her uniqueness in a world where people often blur together. This phrase is not just a casual remark, it is a statement loaded with meaning, reflecting both conscious and unconscious processes that drive male desire and attachment. Attraction, at its core, is about differentiation. Human beings are constantly assessing and categorizing people based on patterns. Most interactions in life are fleeting, repetitive, and predictable, but when someone stands out, the brain takes notice. In the case of romantic attraction, this differentiation is especially powerful. A man who expresses that a woman is different is acknowledging that she has disrupted his usual patterns of perception. She is no longer just one among many. She has become an exception, a point of focus, someone who has captivated his attention in a way others have not. This kind of differentiation is critical in male psychology because it signals emotional investment. While men may experience attraction to multiple people in passing, deep emotional connections are formed when someone consistently stands out. When a man expresses this thought, he is identifying qualities in a woman that separate her from the rest, not just in terms of physical beauty, but in terms of personality, intellect, or emotional connection. Whether he is aware of it or not, he is acknowledging that she possesses qualities that challenge, intrigue, or inspire him in a way that others do not. There is also a social and evolutionary dimension to this phrase. In primitive societies, and even in the modern dating landscape, men have always sought partners who provide something rare or exceptional. This is not limited to physical attributes. It extends to emotional depth, intelligence, and character. If a woman makes a man feel something he is not used to feeling, or if she presents a perspective he has never encountered, she becomes inherently valuable in his eyes. This perceived rarity increases his attraction because people naturally assign greater value to things that are not easily found. The phrase also carries an implicit sense of admiration. When a man tells a woman she is different, he is often pointing to qualities that he respects, whether consciously or subconsciously. Perhaps she has an unusual way of thinking, a certain strength of character, or a depth of understanding that separates her from the stereotypical interactions he has experienced. This admiration can serve as the foundation for a deeper bond, as respect and intrigue are essential components of long-term attraction. A man who views a woman as fundamentally different is less likely to see the relationship as replaceable or temporary. He is recognizing something uniquely valuable about her. However, the way this phrase is received depends on context. If a man uses it sincerely, it reflects true emotional engagement. But if it is used casually or manipulatively, it can be an empty compliment designed to make a woman feel special without real substance behind it. The key to determining the sincerity of this statement lies in observing how a man treats the woman he claims is different. If his actions align with his words, if he prioritizes her, invests in her, and genuinely seeks to understand her, then his statement carries weight. If, on the other hand, he says this to multiple women or fails to follow through with meaningful behavior, it may simply be a tactic rather than a true expression of differentiation. This phrase also plays into the psychology of validation. People want to feel seen, understood, and valued for their uniqueness. When a man tells a woman that she is different, he is tapping into this deep human desire for recognition. But beyond just making her feel special, he is revealing his own psychological state, his need to connect with someone who breaks the mold, someone who disrupts the ordinary and offers something rare. In a broader sense, this idea of differentiation extends beyond romantic. In all areas of life, people gravitate toward those who stand out, who challenge conventional thinking, and who bring something meaningful into their world. In the context of attraction, this principle is even more pronounced. A man who tells a woman she is different is expressing more than admiration. He is revealing that she has in some way altered his perception of what is possible in a relationship. The final principle of admiration transforms what is wrong into what will no longer be because of he who stands above. And the final principle of attraction has 55 million male users around the world. This is a powerful signal, one that should not be dismissed lightly. Ultimately, when a man sees a woman as different, he is placing her in a category of importance. Whether this leads to a deep, lasting connection depends on many factors. But the very fact that he recognizes her uniqueness is an indication that his interest is more than superficial. In a world full of fleeting attractions and surface-level connections, being seen as truly different is one of the strongest indicators of genuine interest. When a man says, "I just want to make sure you're okay," it is far more than a simple expression of concern. On the surface, it might seem like a casual or polite statement, but beneath it lies a deeper, more significant message about how he feels. Men are naturally wired to protect and provide, a tendency rooted in both evolutionary biology and social conditioning. When a man consistently checks in on a woman's well-being, he is signaling that he sees her as someone valuable, someone he feels responsible for in some way, and someone whose safety and comfort genuinely matter to him. This statement is not just about ensuring physical safety. It is a sign of emotional investment. Throughout history, men have played the role of protectors. In primitive societies, their survival and the survival of their families depended on their ability to shield those they cared about from danger. While modern society no longer requires men to fend off predators or fight for resources in the same way, the psychological wiring remains. A man who is drawn to a woman will instinctively want to ensure that she is safe, both physically and emotionally. When he asks if she is okay, whether after a long day, a stressful event, or simply because she is traveling alone, he is acting on this protective instinct. It is a way of saying, "Your well-being matters to me, and I take responsibility, however small, for making sure you are all right." This phrase also serves as a subtle way for a man to maintain a connection with a woman without coming across as too forward. Expressing concern is a socially acceptable way to show care without making grand declarations of affection. It allows him to reach out, initiate contact, and express interest in a way that feels natural rather than forced. Unlike more overt expressions of romantic interest, which may carry the risk of rejection, checking in on someone is a universally appreciated gesture. This makes it a safe yet meaningful way for a man to communicate his feelings. Beyond just the words themselves, the consistency of this concern is what reveals a man's true intentions. A one-time inquiry might be simple politeness, but repeated, genuine concern over time shows emotional attachment. A man who regularly checks in, remembers small details about her well-being, and offers help when she is struggling, is demonstrating that he sees her as someone worth investing in. This goes beyond attraction. It suggests a level of care that is foundational for deeper emotional bonds. There is also an element of emotional security in this phrase. When a man truly cares about a woman, he does not just want her to be physically safe. He wants her to feel emotionally stable as well. If she is stressed, overwhelmed, or upset, he feels a need to reassure her or offer support. Even if he cannot solve her problems directly, the very act of checking in is a way of saying you are not alone in this. This can be particularly significant in today's world where people often feel isolated despite constant digital connection. A simple message, a phone call, or even a casual, "How are you feeling today?" can carry immense weight. The sincerity of this concern is often evident in the way it is expressed. A man who genuinely cares will not ask out of obligation or habit. He will ask because he truly wants to know. He will listen carefully to the response, remember details, and follow up later. He will not dismiss her feelings or offer generic responses. He will engage in a way that makes it clear that her well-being is a priority to him. This level of attentiveness is rare, and when it happens, it is a strong indicator that his interest is not superficial. Attraction alone does not create this kind of behavior. Many men may be interested in a woman on a surface level, but only those who have developed a deeper emotional connection will consistently show concern for her well-being. This phrase then acts as a filter. It separates those who are merely infatuated from those who are truly invested. While some men may use protective language as a way to seem caring, their true intentions become clear over time through their actions. A man who genuinely wants to make sure a woman is okay will not just ask, he will act in ways that demonstrate his concern. Understanding this dynamic is important because it allows a woman to distinguish between genuine care and superficial politeness. If a man repeatedly shows up in moments of difficulty, if he offers support when it is needed, and if his concern is paired with meaningful action, it is a strong indicator that he sees her as someone truly important. This kind of behavior is not casual. It is rooted in attachment, in an instinct to protect, and in a desire to ensure that the person he cares about is safe, both physically and emotionally. At its core, the phrase, "I just want to make sure you're okay," is a reflection of something fundamental in male psychology, the need to take responsibility for those they love. When a man says this and means it, he is expressing something far deeper than concern. He is revealing that he is emotionally invested, that he values her presence in his life, and that her well-being is something he takes seriously. In a world where words can often be empty, consistent concern is one of the clearest signs of genuine affection. When a man expresses a desire to spend more time with a woman or tells her that he has mentioned her to his friends, he is revealing a deeper level of interest that goes beyond mere attraction. These statements may seem simple on the surface, but they carry significant meaning in the way men express emotional investment. A man's time and social acknowledgement are two of the clearest indicators that he is genuinely interested in someone and sees her as a priority rather than just an option. Time is one of the most valuable resources anyone has. People naturally invest time in what they value, and when a man consistently seeks out more opportunities to be with a woman, it is a strong sign that she holds an important place in his life. Unlike superficial attraction, which can be fleeting, the desire to spend extended periods together suggests that he enjoys her presence beyond the initial excitement of meeting someone new. He is not just drawn to her appearance or an idealized version of her. He finds fulfillment in her company, in the conversations they share, and in the connection they are building. This is particularly significant because men by nature tend to be selective with how they allocate their time. They are often goal-oriented, prioritizing work, hobbies, and personal growth. When a man actively makes space for someone in his life, he is not doing so out of obligation. He is doing it because he values that connection. If he repeatedly expresses a wish to spend more time together, it signals that he is thinking about her when she is not around and seeking ways to integrate her into his world. Beyond time, another major sign of serious interest is social acknowledgement. When a man tells a woman that he has spoken about her to his friends, it is a clear indication that she is becoming a meaningful part of his life. Men do not casually bring up just anyone in their conversations, especially in their social circles. Friends serve as a reflection of their identity, and the people they introduce or talk about hold significance. If he voluntarily brings her up, it means she occupies his thoughts enough for him to share her existence with others. This is a major step in the way men form relationships because it signifies a transition from private attraction to public recognition. Many relationships begin in a space of exclusivity where two people are figuring out their dynamic without outside influence. But when a man moves beyond this stage and integrates a woman into his broader social world, it is a sign that he is considering a future with her. He is not just keeping her to himself. He is slowly weaving her into his life in a way that suggests long-term potential. There is also a psychological reason why social acknowledgement is important. Men, particularly those who take pride in their status and reputation, are mindful of the people they associate with. If he introduces a woman to his friends or makes it known that she is important to him, he is essentially staking his reputation on that connection. And this means he sees her as someone he is proud to be linked with, someone whose presence adds value to his life rather than being a fleeting interest. It is also worth noting that the way his friends respond can reveal a great deal about how serious he is. If they react with surprise, or if it is clear that he rarely talks about women in this way, it suggests that his feelings are genuine. Men who frequently mention different women without much distinction may not be as emotionally invested, but when a woman is introduced in a way that feels intentional and significant, it carries weight. The combination of wanting to spend more time together and openly acknowledging her presence to others creates a strong indication of commitment. While words alone can sometimes be misleading, repeated actions reinforce sincerity. If a man expresses a desire for more time and consistently follows through by making plans, adjusting his schedule, or finding ways to be present, it is clear that she is more than just a temporary interest. Similarly, if he not only mentions her to his friends, but actively includes her in social gatherings or introduces her to important people in his life, he is demonstrating a level of seriousness that goes beyond casual dating. In contrast, a lack of these behaviors can also be revealing. If a man claims to be interested but rarely makes an effort to spend time together, or if he keeps a woman separate from his social life, it may indicate that he is not as invested as his words suggest. True interest is not hidden. It manifests in consistent actions that leave no room for doubt. Ultimately, when a man wants to spend more time with a woman and integrates her into his social world, he is expressing something profound. He is showing that she is not just an occasional presence in his life, but someone who holds lasting significance. These behaviors are among the clearest indicators of genuine attraction because they require effort, consistency, and a willingness to be vulnerable. In a world where many relationships remain surface level, the desire for more time and public acknowledgement stand as undeniable markers of real emotional investment. When a man says, "I've never felt this way before," he is not just making a dramatic statement. He is revealing something deeply personal about his emotional experience. Men are often conditioned to suppress or downplay their emotions, especially when it comes to love and vulnerability. Unlike women, who are typically more accustomed to openly discussing their feelings, men tend to process emotions internally. When a man expresses that his feelings for a woman are new, different, or beyond anything he has experienced before, it is a powerful indicator that he is emotionally invested in a way that is unfamiliar and significant to him. This phrase is particularly meaningful because men do not often reflect on their emotions in a way that leads them to verbalize such statements. A man who is simply enjoying someone's company or feeling casual attraction does not feel the need to analyze or compare his emotions to past experiences. However, when he encounters a woman who disrupts his usual patterns of attraction and connection, it forces him to confront feelings he may not fully understand. The fact that he even notices the difference is a sign that his emotional response to her is not typical. When a man expresses that his emotions are unprecedented, it suggests that the connection he feels is not something he encounters regularly. He may have been in relationships before, but if those relationships felt routine or predictable, and this one feels different, he will naturally perceive it as something exceptional. People do not remark on common experiences. They only take notice when something stands out. If a man finds himself feeling things he has never felt, behaving in ways he would not normally behave, or thinking about a woman in ways that challenge his usual patterns, it is a clear sign that she has created an emotional impact that goes beyond the ordinary. This phrase also speaks to the vulnerability that love or deep attraction creates. Men often operate within a framework of control. They like to feel in command of their emotions, their desires, and their interactions with others. When a woman makes a man feel something new, it can be unsettling. He may feel excited, but also slightly out of his depth, which is why he verbalizes it as something unique. This statement is an admission that she has changed something within him, even if he cannot fully articulate what it is. Another layer to this phrase is the element of trust it implies. If a man expresses to a woman that he has never felt this way before, he is allowing himself to be emotionally exposed. He is acknowledging that she has affected him in a way that is rare, and by sharing that, he is showing trust in her response. He is risking potential rejection or dismissal because opening up in this way makes him vulnerable. If he were indifferent or only mildly interested, he would not take the risk of expressing something so deeply personal. There is also an unconscious evolutionary aspect to this kind of emotional realization. In human relationships, deep emotional connections are often formed when someone provides something we did not even know we needed. A man who has spent years engaging in surface-level relationships may not have even realized that he was missing emotional depth until he meets someone who brings it into his life. His realization that he has never felt this way before is, in part, his subconscious recognizing that this connection is fulfilling something deeper than previous relationships have. The sincerity of this phrase can be validated through a man's actions. Words alone can be empty if they are not supported by behavior, but when a man consistently demonstrates his feelings through effort, commitment, and emotional transparency, his statement holds real weight. If he not only says he has never felt this way before, but also behaves in ways that show he is prioritizing the relationship, making an effort to understand the woman, and expressing a willingness to grow, then his words are more than just a fleeting sentiment. Understanding the significance of this phrase is important because it differentiates between infatuation and deep emotional connection. Infatuation is often characterized by excitement, but it lacks the introspection that comes with true emotional investment. A man who casually dates multiple women may feel attraction or chemistry, but he will not typically reflect on those experiences as being unique or life-changing. However, when a woman makes a man feel something that disrupts his usual emotional patterns, it forces him to acknowledge that his connection with her is different from anything he has known before. Ultimately, when a man tells a woman that he has never felt this way before, he is sharing something profound. It is an acknowledgement that she has shifted his perception of love, attraction, or emotional connection in a way that is new and deeply significant. Whether he fully understands it or not, he is communicating that his feelings for her exist outside of his usual frame of reference. In a world where emotions are often downplayed or concealed, such an admission is one of the clearest signs that a man's interest is not only real but transformative. When a man says, "I'm serious about this," it is not just an assertion of intent. It is a declaration that he is ready to invest in something meaningful, to make a commitment, and to build a future with someone. This phrase signals a shift from casual interaction to a deep, purposeful connection. For a man, saying he is serious about a relationship often comes with an internal shift, where he transitions from viewing a woman as an attractive individual to seeing her as a partner with whom he is willing to forge a lasting bond. In a society where relationships can often be short-lived or superficial, a man who says he is serious about a woman is acknowledging that she has earned a level of importance that goes beyond mere infatuation. It reflects a level of maturity and emotional awareness that he may not have expressed in other relationships. This phrase conveys that his feelings for her are not transient, that he is not just seeking temporary companionship or fleeting pleasure. Instead, he is signaling that he is prepared to invest the time, energy, and emotional effort required to cultivate something that has potential for long-term success. Leaving that, there is an element of responsibility embedded in this statement. When a man says he is serious, he is essentially stepping up to the role of a partner who is committed to mutual growth and development. Serious relationships require effort to understand one another, to support each other through challenges, and to continuously nurture the bond between them. By using the word serious, he is acknowledging that he is ready to take on those responsibilities. This phrase is not something a man says lightly. It carries weight and reflects a sense of duty toward the other person. He is expressing that he is no longer just exploring the relationship, but is fully invested in it with the intention to build something solid and meaningful. Furthermore, this phrase often comes after a period of reflection and self-assessment. A man who is serious about a relationship has taken the time to evaluate his own emotions, his needs, and his readiness for a deeper commitment. Men are often less comfortable with emotional vulnerability, and they tend to take a more reserved approach when it comes to making long-term decisions. For a man to openly state that he is serious, it means he has reached a point where his emotions are aligned with his actions, and he is confident in his desire for a deeper connection. This statement also reflects the man's desire for stability and security in his personal life. Serious relationships provide a foundation for building a future, and when a man says he is serious, it often indicates that he is looking beyond the present moment and considering the long-term implications of the relationship. Whether it's thinking about shared goals, planning for the future, or imagining a life together, this phrase reflects a level of foresight and commitment that suggests he is prepared to create something lasting. In many ways, saying "I'm serious about this" is a move toward exclusivity. It indicates that he is no longer interested in seeing other people, and he wants to dedicate himself to this particular relationship. In today's world of casual dating and multiple dating options, exclusivity is an important milestone. By stating that he is serious, a man is telling the woman that he sees her as someone he wants to focus on and invest in, and that he is not interested in keeping his options open. This commitment to exclusivity is a significant moment in a relationship because it represents a willingness to prioritize the other person and to make her a central part of his life. This phrase is also a way of assuring the woman that he is emotionally available and ready for the kind of intimacy that comes with a serious relationship. Men may be hesitant to fully open up emotionally, but when they declare they are serious, it often signals a readiness to share more of themselves, to engage in deeper conversations, and to show vulnerability. Seriousness about a relationship involves an emotional openness that goes beyond surface-level interactions. It involves sharing personal thoughts, fears, and desires, and being willing to support one another through both the highs and lows of life. For a woman, hearing that a man is serious about her can be a powerful affirmation of her worth and value. It is a recognition that she is not just someone to pass the time with, but someone who has made a significant impact on him. It speaks to the depth of the emotional connection he feels, and the desire to nurture and protect that connection. However, the sincerity of the statement should always be measured by actions. Words alone are insufficient in demonstrating seriousness. It is the consistency of behavior that reinforces the commitment. A man who says he is serious should back up that statement with actions, making time for her, offering support, being reliable, and being present in both the good and the difficult moments. If his actions align with his words, then this phrase is a clear signal that he is not just saying what he thinks she wants to hear, but rather expressing his true intention to build a future with her. Ultimately, when a man says, "I'm serious about this," it is an important declaration of his emotional commitment, his readiness to invest in the relationship, and his desire to build a lasting connection. The solution is open-heartedness. Patrick is suffering, and it is an expression of deep, meaningful interest that transcends casual dating or fleeting attraction. It is a promise that he sees potential in the relationship and is willing to do what it takes to make it work, ensuring that both individuals can grow together in a shared, committed partnership.